Hello, everyone. Welcome to the July 8th edition of Trips and Traps. The dog days of summer are upon us, but we do have a little bit of a breeze. We shed the jackets. I'm Richard Migliore, joined by the ambassador of Aqueduct, the bon vivant of Belmont, who's bringing his swagger to Saratoga to share, Ernie Munick. Ernie, good to be here with you.
Oh, you are too funny. You make me laugh.
Well, that's what we're here for, to entertain. And certainly, I'm glad you're going to be in Saratoga with us. We'll continue on our trips and traps.
I can't wait. And as far as I'm concerned, that is the house of 4-Star Dave.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, how many horses have a street name for them? And I actually did ride him right into the bar at Ciro's one day.
I mean, how classic is that? And that's even better than you high-fiving the fans coming back after
his 7th year winning up there. Came back high-fiving the fans at Saratoga. We'll get to Saratoga, but let's take a look back at last week. Came back off vacation, reviewed a bunch of races, and we're going to start on July 1st, race number 7, and we are looking at a head-on first of number 5, Root for Me, Justin. I'm working on my circles. We're getting there. This horse encounters a lot of trouble right out of the break as he gets squeezed, pinched between two, and actually clipped heels with the eventual winner there and bobbled and basically took him out of the game from the start, Ernie.
And it's one of those where you have all this preparation and it's got to be a bummer for all the connections when you have all these plans and then racing strikes.
You know, and it's one thing if you want to be, great and come from behind. It's another thing to get knocked back out of the game. And he basically, to me, was eliminated at the break. But then there was just some decisions made and the trip he wound up getting that I thought eliminated any further chance of him having a better placing.
In a situation like this, we have a horse who had shown the ability to be up close, but that was a rough start. And you have to, as you say, you have to make a decision. Do you rush? Do you wait? That's the one issue I have with this horse going forward. I can't get a vibe for what is really his mojo. What is his best way to approach these races?
Well, he's basically been kind of asked to go forward the rest of the race, and he was wide pretty much the entire turn. And now Angel Arroyo decides that it's going to look bad to be out wide, and he kind of angles back in. You've already been wide most of the turn. Now, the eventual runner-up swings out here, while now Angel Arroyo is looking, kind of searching for room. You're going to see he's never has a clear path, an unencumbered journey after that.
Very interesting. Now, someone might say, well, at least he saves ground on the turn, but when you're in traffic like that, you have to make that decision. What, about quarter pole?
Listen, if he had saved every inch of ground around the turn, I would agree with that 100%. The fact that he was 3 or 4 wide, and you can go back for yourselves and watch the head-on around the turn, that he was 3 or 4 wide pretty much 70 to 80% of the turn, and then angles in. You want to save ground early in the turn and angle out when you're getting your momentum, much like the runner-up Lord of Love did under Junior Alvarado. I think Angel Arroyo overthought it at that point and said, well, now I already got left. It's going to look bad. I'm going to be wide. Forget how it looks at that point. If he had angled out, I don't think he would have won. I think he would have been a lot closer. This is a horse I want to use back at Saratoga. It'll be 5.5 up there, but hopefully he gets away cleaner. And I do think this horse had a real legitimate trip.
Good news. Price is going to go up, and one of his 2 wins at Saratoga.
Well, and I like that. Look for horses for courses, especially as we're moving to a new meet. Sometimes you see some big prices, but then you look back and a horse had success in a place.
Absolutely.
Root for Me, Justin, a horse we will follow back for sure. On the same day, the 9th race, we're going to take a look at number 6, Elroy. And Elroy broke clean, just didn't break particularly fast. And to Joel Rosario's credit, you'll see he's trying to keep him involved. This horse was just slow early. And Jockey can't make a horse go fast and he wants to early in a race. Now he says, okay, I got to give him a chance. One of the things Joel Rosario does so well, lets horses run up into his hands. Now you can see the horse is finally kind of catching his stride, even though he's pretty far back at this point.
That's the issue with a horse like this. Now, before I even go any further, we say, well, this horse is 2 for 23. You got home, Maximilia. You have earned the right to pick an Elroy, to go with an Elroy as a horse to watch. Because really, I'm like Maximilia, I don't know. Bam, 10-1 next time out. Sometimes, if the trip is good enough, you can be seduced by one of these horses. And Elroy is so far back, but that appears to be his M.O. He's that type of horse.
You know, a lot of times in the 2-turn races in Saratoga, particularly early in the meet, everybody's a little amped up. You get more pace. I'm hoping this horse catches real pace. I like the fact that Joel Rosario now has him running very comfortably into his hands. this is the one thing you're going to get with Joel. When he gets a horse running, he's very rarely going to get them stopped because he will forfeit the ground to keep a horse's momentum. And I think the wide trip hurt him from being much closer.
Watching this race again, I kept thinking to myself, Joel is like, he's riding Elroy exactly how he rode Akatia, if I'm pronouncing that right, who he'd won with the previous race in the exact same style. So I'm like, come on, do something different. But then if you look at this horse's races, it's very hard to change this horse's stripes.
Well, it really is, but he was riding Elroy. And I think you have to take edges. This horse is finishing well. He's not finishing with a flourish. There wasn't a lot of pace on in here. But I think a horse like this, who, as you adeptly pointed out, is 2 for 23, I would rather see a rider cut corners and take chances because he's not going to overcome a wide trip. He's just not that talented. But that being said, I think he would have been a lot closer if Joel had not angled out early.
What's so interesting, what you said a minute ago, about being more amped at Saratoga, I'm thinking of even in other sports. You watch the first minute of a championship, first 3 minutes of an NBA championship game. They are missing the rim. They're not even close. Every championship fight, a little out of control early on. There's so much energy and so much adrenaline in these big events that there are mistakes made.
Well, you feel it walking in opening day. You feel it in the jockey's room. Everybody wants to get off to a fast start, and it's so important. And you feel it Derby day and big race days. That's why it's important for riders to ride early on a card. Kind of get that nervous energy out, dispel it, and then focus on your job.
That makes a lot of sense.
All right, let's turn the page. Move to July 2nd, race 4. And this is a horse that, I don't know, we might even disagree, but Kabang, number 4, well, he didn't break with a Kabang, and it's kind of his want to be a little slow early. I will say this, Ernie. He's a very big horse that I didn't think would be suited to the 6 furlongs. He was off a year. You got to think he's a bit stuffy. He's a horse that's going to have to shake some ring rust. And I really think this horse is going to be better stretching out.
It almost felt like a training race in effect. Unintentionally, of course, but it almost felt like a training race off that long layoff. It was first time for a new barn and first time on grass. So there were things he was dealing with for the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he's going to be much better for the race, much better for having been over the surface now. And there's an old adage that one race is worth 5 workouts.
Isn't that something?
And I think this horse got a lot out of this race. Now, he's got the eventual winner right inside of him here, Kamen, who just outfoots him. And you can see Jose Ortiz on Kabang goes, well, I don't have that kind of horse underneath me to follow that move and be wide. So he kind of tucked back in. And he's well beaten. And I can see, if you want to make the argument, well, he was beaten 7 lengths on the turf. I really believe this horse is going to benefit that much from the race. And I do think he'll be much better stretching out.
Well, the race wasn't super fast, but it was fast enough. The winner was about an 86 buyer. And again, the third horse, even right here, he doesn't, now he's finishing well. He was never really asked strongly before that because that is his style. I could see him moving forward off this race. And he's got Dynaformer on the bottom. The pedigree says, feed me ground, feed me.
And to me, his body type is more Dynaformer. So, then Hardspun, I believe, is on the top side, if I'm not mistaken.
Tap it.
Tap it, excuse me.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not too well bred, huh?
It's amazing, huh?
Yeah, I think we're going to watch Kabang going forward. And if he continues to break slow and not finish, well, then I'll say it right here, he's a trap. But right now, to me, he's a trip. This one's a lot more subtle. Race 8, July 2nd, the Perfect Sting Stakes. Onus, who was so impressive winning off the bench, breaks on top. I mean, she's on the lead here, and she went wire to wire in her previous start. And she looks very comfortable to me here. And Jose Ortiz, who I think is a tremendous young rider, incredible talent, decides that he's going to rate. And he really gets into a fight with her. Keep a look at her head, her mouth. Her mouth's going to be wide open in a second.
I wanted to ask you about the mouth. Is she gasping for what's going on?
No, it's just fighting with the rider. And when you're doing that, you're inhibiting a horse's stride. You're making them use more energy and potentially getting in the way of their air. You can see there. Look how wide open her mouth is. I'm really surprised that he decided to do this. It was a slow pace, 24-2, 49. We see her here. Now she's second, still under a pull. And a lot of people say, well, she could go second. She's in the clear. She has no excuses. To me, this is a clear example of a rider getting in the way of a horse. Allow a horse to do what comes comfortable, which he did the time before. And that's what surprised me about this ride. And I guess, okay, now she's second. maybe she's supposed to quicken, but how much did the wrestling match early on take out of her?
And it's interesting. Watching Jose, I get the feeling he has a lot of filly there because he keeps looking under and looking around as if, okay, I'm gonna flip the switch and it's over. And then, the run didn't seem the same as always. Now, Mig, let me just bring up as we're going to watch the turn for home. She is 0 for 3 on courses that have some give in them, 4 for 4 on firm courses. You think it was the combination of the ride and the course, or a bad day, a little bit of all the above?
See, I don't think the course really had a lot of give in it. I know it wasn't labeled firm, but I think it actually needed the rain. They came home in 22-3.
Very interesting.
A soft course, they're not going to be able to quicken like that. Now, let's give the winner a lot of credit. They changed tactics with My Sweet Girl. She finished well from off the pace. My problem with Onus and the ride with Jose Ortiz, and again, I'm a fan. Jose Ortiz is a great young rider. I think he looked over, saw number 10, Old Harbor, who's a big long shot, who Angel Arroyo was trying to allow him to go and said, well, I don't want to be engaged with a long shot. And he overthought it. I think he should have put his hands down, let his filly go on, and if she spreads the field out a little, takes a little sting out of everybody, they're not going to come home in 22-3. And it looked to me like she struggled going from a pull to a drive.
So a jockey's afraid to make a mistake. Is that?
I think so. You're talking about a big favorite for a high-profile trainer, high-profile outfit that's not supposed to lose,
right?
And maybe overthink it in some spots. I think I believe Onus would have won if he just put his hands down, not ask her, and let her get her stride and go on. She probably would have been in front in 48,
right, and
continued on. My opinion, we can vary, but I have a pet peeve about riders not allowing horses to do what comes easy to them. Well, I'm not saying send them, just let them go get in their rhythm.
Well, the field might even be better next time. I think I'm sure Onus's price will go up, and maybe there is an opportunity to strike.
Yeah, I agree. I think Onus is one of the elite kind of fillies. Didn't get an opportunity to show it here. Our final race, July 3rd, race 8, an old friend.
Oh, yes.
The New York bred, Carafa, number 5. Broke okay. He's in the middle of the pack here. White blinkers. We're going to see the number 5 there in a minute. Angel Arroyo, I don't think, did a very good job of getting his position going forward. That's the way I like to say it.
Yeah, I mean, he was also taken back out of there, and you can see right now those dark green silks, and he's kind of fighting, and he had the 4-hole, Mig. You'd think there'd be a shot to save some ground, but he ends up outside.
I think if he allowed his horse to go forward, he would have been in the position where the 3 horse is here now. Now he's shuffled back 3 or 4 places. Okay, that's bad enough. Now let's make it impossible and park him 4 or 5 wide the entire turn.
Yeah, I always feel a little uncomfortable because, you rode the 4,500 winners, and I'm sitting here. But I watched these races, and this one seemed like an obvious one. Should have saved more ground. And why so much fighting?
Well, this is the position he should have been in proximity with the 3. The 3's got a good spot. He could have been right outside of him, right in behind him here. Instead, he's out 4 wide over here. So now, not only is he giving away early position, he's wide. And now he's got to make up that ground wide. Anybody who watches turf races will tell you when a horse makes a continuous wide run on the turf, they don't win. And now listen, Carafa's 7 years old, and maybe, age is catching up with him.
A step or 2 might be gone.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I don't think we can ascertain that off of this trip.
That's what I was. Mig, you stole my line. I was just going to say he might have lost a step or 3, but it's hard to tell from this race. Keep in mind,
he's 3 wide now, but he was 4 to 5 wide the entire turn, and now he's head for the lead.
Yeah.
So he made up those 8 lengths that he gave away early before they got to the quarter pole. They don't pay at this pole. They pay at the one down the stretch.
How much the best would he have needed to be to win this race? And keep in mind, he has won a race every year since 2011. So you would think he himself would want some redemption, or at least to prove that he still has it. It'll be interesting to see.
Well, again, the horse that got his position going forward and saved ground is winning the race right now in the Junior Alvarado. He basically flip-flopped positions. Now, to be fair, maybe Carafa wasn't going to win under any circumstance this day. But I thought he had a bad enough trip that I do think he's a lot better than that. And I'm not ready to throw in the towel with Carafa and say, well, Father Time has caught up with him. And for that matter, black type under Junior Alvarado, I have to say, because I have been tough on Junior at different times, on trips and traps, watching races. I think he's really found his game the last 2 weeks at Belmont. I think his confidence level has risen, and Junior Alvarado is riding terrific, putting horses in position to win. That's all you can ask from any rider. I think Junior is riding well at the right time, heading to Saratoga.
That's it. That's my favorite thing to do, is to catch not only jockeys but trainers with momentum going into the meat of meats.
Well, I'm pretty sure we're going to have one more Trips and Traps before we leave Belmont. So. And, of course, we can always use your help. Don't forget, Trips and Traps. That's a trap.
Right there.
Trips and Traps at NYRAINC.com.